Let's talk rumors. So, big breaking rumor. I need to research this more for the next episode. That being said, we do have maybe sort of a little bit of rumbling and or confirmation and or news, but I'm counting it as a rumor because I haven't put the proper footwork together to call it news, that Constantine is getting a sequel, maybe? Or a reboot? It seems that the actor who played Lucifer in the first movie with Keanu Reeves playing the titular character is talking about the next movie. Now, again, I have not done the footwork for this, so I cannot say if it's going to be the Keanu Reeves Constantine or if it's going to be what's-his-toes from the TV series. I don't know why I can never remember that guy's name. Matt something. So I will get into this and we will talk about, if it is just rumor, we will bring it back up in the next episode. But if it is legitimately happening, we will talk about it in movies news next time. But yeah, so likelihood that this is happening, I feel like we have actually heard rumblings of this before. So I'm just going to say 50-50 and leave it at that because that's, again, I need to do more footwork, but it was breaking and we had to talk about it. So the actual pieces that I have looked into, first one is Red Hood. We have a new source because we've talked about this previously, but we do have a new source, a more reliable source, saying that Jason Todd is legitimately getting his very own spinoff from the Titans show over on the, not DC Universe anymore, HBO Max. There we go. And so, again, it is not coming from the studio. It's not even coming from like a representative of the studio who like happened to slip something. This is a leaker who is letting this out. So, still cannot confirm 100%, but this does raise the profile a little bit. So Jason Todd getting a spinoff, Red Hood becoming its own series. We're saying I gotta put this up to about 70%. And yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good number. 70% likelihood that this is going to happen. We've gone over the reasons. Next, we're talking about Deadshot. So with all of the rumors about Ben Affleck getting his very own Batman show on HBO Max because he's signed this mystery contract, we know he's going to be in movies as Batman again, and now everyone thinks that he's going to be getting a show on HBO Max. Kind of makes a little bit of sense, but Deadshot is now reportedly getting his own series on HBO Max as well. And not just any Deadshot, but the Will Smith Deadshot, to be very specific. And it is going to be another extension of the Snyderverse. So this is not only building on a rumor, building from another rumor that we've been talking about, but also brings in Will Smith into this. And so there's a couple of things counting against this and a couple of things counting for this. Pandemic, everybody's looking to make streaming content these days, counting for it. Will Smith wanting to do the character and not being able to because of scheduling conflicts for the James Gunn redo. Also, the fact that James Gunn did not use that character in his redo, all of that is counting towards this. But again, this is technically building from another rumor. So since it's a rumor attached to a rumor, we can't give it too much credence. So I believe we talked about this previously as far as the Snyderverse getting more coverage if the Snyder Cut does well. So it's relying on that, and it's also relying on the fact that Ben Affleck will be getting his series very likely first. So if we see the Snyder Cut do well, that definitely bodes well for this rumor. If we see Ben Affleck actually getting announced as getting his own series on HBO Max, then this becomes 10 times more likely. Until that point, though, I'm saying 40% likelihood that Deadshot becomes an actual thing on HBO Max. Next is the expansion of the news piece we talked about a minute ago, and that is A Quiet Place 3. Quiet Place 3, remember we kind of left this one hanging, right? Because all we know is it's happening. So the rumor is that it's not going to be a sequel to A Quiet Place 2, but it is going to be an aside almost, something that is going to build the universe, because they're now going to be building into A Quiet Place universe. It's a very awkward sentence to say. So that is the rumor. I do think that Krasinski wants to build this into a universe. That, I think, is very, very likely. But this movie specifically being not a sequel, I feel like that's slightly less likely but I'm saying 50-50 that this movie is going to be the first world-building movie, we'll call it. It could go either way. Them building a universe around the concept of A Quiet Place. Also, kind of, I feel like there's enough on either side that it also goes 50-50. So we've got 50-50 on both aspects of this rumor. Next, we're talking about a really interesting. I didn't want to lead with the name of the movie, but we're going to lead with the name of the actor, and that's Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp, being as he is, where he is these days in Hollywood, there is a new rumor that he's been talking to none other than his homeboy Tim Burton about Beetlejuice II. This seems like a long shot on so many levels. Beetlejuice 2 has been somewhere in the works since Beetlejuice 1 came out back in the early 90s. Kevin Smith at one point even penned a second movie for, I can't remember who owns the rights to Beetlejuice, but whoever it is, also Warner, I would imagine, because they own Nickelodeon. Anyway, so Beetlejuice 2, so there's effectively two rumors here, right? Beetlejuice 2 is to the point where they've approached Tim Burton. He's accepted, and it is into the casting phase, or almost into the casting phase. And then the other rumor here is that Johnny Depp is being considered for a role, not necessarily for the role, but a role in the movie. So let's address those individually. Beetlejuice 2, somewhere in the works. Depends on what you mean by somewhere in the works, but as far as like been done with pre-production and Tim Burton's gonna make it, no. The very, very, very unlikely. We're gonna say 5%. That's probably the lowest positive percentage we've given anything. 5% likelihood that is the case. So very unlikely, even less likely, they're approaching Johnny Depp, or Johnny Depp is approaching them to play a role in the movie. So 0% that part of it is happening. There's way too much on Johnny Depp's plate. There's way too much stigma around him right now. Unfortunately, we will find out in the months coming whether or not it is justified or not, according to the courts at least. So yeah, Johnny Depp not going to be Beetlejuice 2. Beetlejuice 2 probably not gonna happen. There you go. Moving on. Our final piece has to do with Blade, and this one's really fun. I really like this. So the rumor is that in the new Mahershala Ali starring Blade movie, they have approached Wesley Snipes to play potentially one of two roles. Either Dracula, so he would be the villain, or Abraham Whistler, who is, the guy who sets up Blade inside the mythology. So there is kind of a split on the Whistler depending on which of the sources, because I got this from a couple of different sources, but one source is saying that if Wesley Snipes is in the movie, he's going to be the villain, and that villain might be Dracula or Whistler, which is interesting. And the other source was saying that he's either going to be the villain, Dracula, or Whistler, the backup, the kind of as more of a cameo or also featuring kind of role, and not really the bad guy at all, not any sort of focus of the movie necessarily. So we're going to approach it like just those two roles. I don't know if I necessarily buy that Whistler would be the villain, so we're not going to talk about that necessarily. So we'll break down the two rumors of likelihood. Dracula bringing Wesley Snipes in at all seems a little far-fetched unless it's just a cameo as something insignificant. So the fact that both of these rumors have him in a fairly significant role seems fairly unlikely to me. So as the main villain of the movie, Dracula, I'm going to say 25%, because that would be really awesome. I want to give that more credence than I think it deserves. So we're going to say 25%. As Whistler, I think would probably actually be almost as cool, but it seems like a more heavy role because that would mean he would have a recurring role in the series theoretically. So I feel like that makes it less possible, but also, again, I feel like it's pretty cool. So we're going to say about 20% likelihood that that is the case, though you can't have both. So that is what we've got for rumors for the episode, guys.